so obscure you have to go into 14 different mothers' basements to find the show. I'm your host, as always, Chad Bordo, and joining me is the more glamorous of the duo. He is the miracle himself, Mr. Wonderful Marcus Green. Marcus, I completely forgot what I kept calling you for like the last 6 months. I just kind of, there you go.
It's the glorious one.
There it
Straight
is.
up. Ah, yeah.
Marcus, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. This is quite a show to talk about. A lot of interesting tidbits from it. So it should be more exciting than last week when we basically meandered through a show that meandered through itself.
So, first and foremost, you can find me on Twitter, ChadNerdCorp, ChadNerdCorp, as well as on Chad's Photo Hut. And you can find Marcus on Twitter at ParadoxKid, ParadoxKid. That's the kid. You can also find him on his other podcast, The True Penny Show, at True Penny Show on Twitter, TruePennyShow. Follow the Twitter account to find out when their next show is.
Yep.
As always, you can find us at RealNerdCorp.com, RealNerdCorp.com, as well as on YouTube and Twitch via the links on the website. We are also on Podbean at RealNerdCorp.podbean.com, as well as downloading the Podbean app and downloading it to your mobile and cell phone devices and searching for Real Nerd Corp on the platform. We're also on iTunes on Nerd Corp under the podcast section of the iTunes Store, and I think that's everything. Oh, NerdCorp on Twitter, NERDCORP, and on Instagram at Real Nerd Corp. By the by, if you go to the website, realnerdcorp.com, it's Christmas season for us here at the site. So it's going to be Christmas core. And I have to preface this by saying, if you go to the website and you listen to our brand new Ohio Guys production, the name of the podcast is too goddamn long to remember. But we talk about the 3 Grinch films. I have to warn you. We went dark. The humor in that is, it's very dark. I'll just say Hoodolph Hootler and let it just let it simmer. So if you're bold, go listen. If you're timid, don't.
It wasn't a full attempt to say Jim Cornette hold our beer.
The only difference is our jokes were funny to us. So speaking of Jim Cornette, he's out at NWA Powerrr, and the interesting thing is that it did feel like there was some heavy editing in this video, and I say this because, and I'm not being facetious, about 13 minutes of this was dedicated to 2 promos. Long, boring, uninteresting promos. We'll get there. I don't want to jump the gun, because I have things to say, you have things to say. They were long. And I guarantee you, without even asking Marcus his opinion, I know the parts of the show that he probably felt dragged on the most. But before we get there, let's talk about the opening matches. As Colt Cabana took on Ricky Starks in a non-title match, and then immediately after that took on who took on Damien Sandow? Was it Aaron Sandow? Was it Aaron Stevens? One of those, right? Was it Starks who took on Aaron Stevens in that short match?
Yeah, it was Starks. We were supposed to initially get my boy Ricky, who I just found out this episode is from New Orleans, Louisiana, so that's another reason for me to like. It was supposed to be him versus Colt in a non-title, but the old thespian struck again.
Him and his karate chopping cohort.
Yeah.
That should literally be his name. That's a great name. So the opening matches were kind of not the strongest. I think there was only... Was there 3 matches on the show tonight? I feel like there's only 2.
Let's see. This one... Oh, it was an impromptu... it wasn't a match. It was an impromptu segment that got turned into a beatdown, and then it was another match.
You're talking about the Molina stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's only 2 official matches then.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that a lot of the show is edited out to minimize Jim Cornette as much as possible.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember them going to commentary that often to show us.
They never did.
Okay, so then I wasn't just imagining that. So they really edited this down.
and when you look back at the first episodes, when they used to open the show, that'll be the first two people we see. But now we're getting the interviewer guy almost like almost having to remind us that these episodes are taped.
Yep.
So they've purposely kind of like edited him in so we don't see Cornette or the other guy. But in this episode, we actually heard them. So.
Which I was actually surprised about. I thought for sure they would re-record everything.
Yeah.
But I guess Billy Corgan's like, no, we're wasting too much money as is. So the opening matches were kind of whatever. It would be announced later in the show that Colt Cabana, Ricky Starks, and Aaron Sandow, Stevens, one of those is going to be right eventually, are going to go at it in a triple threat for the NWA National Championship. I don't know how I feel about that. Marcus, you're a fan of the Starks.
Yeah.
Both Ricky and Tony. Are you vibing with the triple threat idea?
No, because I don't need anything dealing with Stevens or that masked hobo.
The masked hobo.
Anything dealing with them in that first match, this is the one Cornette reference that we're gonna make in terms of a positive one. Thank you, F you, bye. Like that whole, I don't need it. It wasn't necessary. Like like we talked about those two those Bastion-esque tag team guys, but this is like really bad, and they keep going back to it, and I don't know why. We've given Aaron Stevens praise before, but he is somebody that can get oversaturated real quick and become real corny. I think he's better in doses, and they're trying to give us these straight shots every week, and it's not working, and it's only stifling other people, specifically your national champion and an up-and-coming Ricky Starks.
It'll be interesting to see who goes over here. I think Colt Cabana is just about done in Ring of Honor. So if the NWA does start to lock some of these guys up long term, Cabana could be that guy because he is someone that people enjoy. I zoomed too far in on Boom Boom. There we go. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with him. And it'll be interesting to see who won. Oh, I had a picture. Never mind. I had the picture of Starks and Sandow. Stevens, Rex, one of them is right. God damn it. So after like the first 5 minutes or 6 minutes of the show, we go to a James Storm promo that lasts about 5.5 minutes. Again, not being quippy or cute or facetious. 5 minutes of him talking and talking and talking. Marcus, Porqué.
Yeah, this is Storm we're talking about, right?
Yep, it's the Storm promo.
Yeah, I actually liked the Storm promo only because like I didn't know about that pop-up event stuff.
Okay.
Didn't know about that, so that was interesting to me. He had some beef with Corgan, who looked really just completely out of place out there. But whatever.
With his 50-year-old face and his sideways hat and hoodie.
Just smashing everybody's pumpkins in the wrong possible way. The worst possible way. But yeah, that and the fact that he actually sounded like he made reference to what was going on with Cornette. You're like, you can't edit this out. You can't wipe this way. Whatever happens is gonna happen. I don't know if, obviously it was on purpose, but that was real interesting. Maybe that was the company taking a shot through Storm at them, but considering the fact that these guys basically get, so they say, alleged promo freedom, that was kind of ballsy by Storm. So I appreciated that. But yeah, even with that, it kind of got long-winded, so.
Yeah, the pop-up event, if I remember correctly, was at the start of the year.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Well, I'm not over the moon with this main event, but it is what it is. We then get this random ass, what was it? Wrestle Crate? No. High Spots. It's a random ass High Spots commercial. So
yeah.
That's something. And we get a who is the question mark? They reveal his name to be like Do Dum Deem Dum Diddy Do. I don't remember his name. I guess I did forget it.
Like, can we get another tie iron and waffles commercial?
You're in luck because we got one of them too. So then we get the spot from WrestleCade. It was Nick Aldis in the Great Muta facing off, and then Aldis pointing at the belt. And on Twitter, they're all like, "You tune in to see the confrontation between Muta and Aldis," and then you tune in, and he just points at the belt. It's like, oh, okay, that's cool. By the by, cameo by Sonny Ono. So that was great. Can't even tell it's him, but you can buy the sunglasses. So, what's up, Sonny Ono? Then we go to an interview with Malina and Dave Marquez. Malina just screams into the mic about wanting the title belt, and then Sienna's like, "How about we do the damn thing?" And then Malina's like, "Okay," and then they fight. Yay! I like Molina. I liked where they were going with Thunder Rosa. I don't understand the need to shoehorn Molina now into the title scene. Not when Thunder Rosa is doing so much work. Thoughts, Marcus?
Yeah, it's weird. Like I'm big time crushing on Molina, but 100% agree with you on this because I mean we've got to backtrack it. This started because Marty Bell joined up with Thunder Rosa because she was very much looking to go after that titles. Allison Kay kind of basically slighted her like, "You're not even my league to take this off of me." She took umbrage with that. She joined, Thunder to kind of, get a leg up on her, and then all the attention turned to Thunder because she is just better. And now we're moving from Thunder to Molina, and it's like, okay, you guys really need to, you know, stop with this eeny, meeny, miny, mo thing and kind of hone this in because, like, you're either gonna do what we got with Raw and do an unnecessary ass handicap match, or you're gonna drag this out too long, and by the time they actually do get the belt off, it's not gonna feel as impactful as it should. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they really need to pick. It's either between, and sadly enough, like I said, it started with a beef between Allison and Marty, but the momentum has shifted. So it's either between Thunder or Molina. So, at first, and the motivations are kind of iffy too because it kind of seemed like she was trying to usher her to take the L instead of handing her the L herself. And now that's kind of changed. So I'm wondering if that's going to lead to potential strife within the trio down the line. Because at this point, like I said, it kind of feels like poor, what's the girl that's tagging with Allison Kay yet again?
Ashley Vox.
Yeah, Ashley Vox is kind of just, she's there just so it's not like a full-on scale handicap match with Kay. But, yeah, they definitely need to hone this in. Because we know Molina could go. It's just, this cat and mouse game is going to get old real quick.
Yeah, Molina, to the best of my knowledge, hasn't been wrestling that often stateside, but she's been doing a lot of European and Australian runs in the last few years. I don't know how much she has left in the tank, per se, because I think she is closer to 40 than she is 30. She might be 40. And she's taken, she's had a lot of years put on that body, especially working in the WWE and working 280 days a year. So I am curious to see how she's bounced back, but as we've seen with some of the guys, like a Shamrock, a Johnny Swinger, or Rob Van Dam, you take a few years off, you rest your body, and you go on a minimal schedule like they are, you can put on some great performances still. So hopefully that's the case for Molina, but we'll have to see going forward what it is. Here's hoping. I am both rooting for and against the idea of this Latina trio going to a quadruple and bringing in Shelly Martinez, just because I want to see what kind of clusterfuck that would be.
Yeah, that would be interesting. It was even when they was going back and forth when Allison Kay came out, it was funny, like you said. Obviously, she must have been talking from a height perspective because when she called Molina a little girl, like I was saying, I'm pretty sure she's older than you, and as you check up on it, like you said, Molina is exactly 40 and Allison Kay is 32. So when she called her a little girl, like, respect your elders, kid. But yeah.
Makes me think of the Johnny Swinger, Joey Ryan stuff where he's like, all right, come on, kid. And it's like Joey Ryan's only like a year and a half younger than Swinger. Right? Like, that's the best part. Because he's fucking old. Let me just look up that real fast. I want to see how old he is. Let's see. Johnny Swinger. He's 44. So he's a very young 40. And he's more over now as an old vet character than he ever was in his prime. Just the marvelous of Impact. So we then go to an interview that I have to assume was done somewhere not during the taping because it was terribly lit. The Rock and Roll Express talk about how they're gonna do it. They're gonna go all out there. We're gonna rumble. These guys are old as dirt. But that seems to be the trend in wrestling. Like, you got Savio Vega, 52, back in MLW. You got RVD, Shamrock, and I'm sure someone else that I'm forgetting. Dreamer, all over 47. Now you got the Rock and Roll Express. So it seems to be the trend. Oh, plus WWE just has all bunch of 50-year-olds wrestling these days, it seems like. So then we go to Nick Aldis's 6-minute promo. And he looks like the villainous kid from Harry Potter. And I kept expecting him to start calling James Storm a muggle. Is that a slur? Did we just slur on the internet? Listen up, James Storm, you muggle. It's like, all right there, Aldis. And then he referenced TNA. Oh, you're balding. Look at that 12 head. And apparently they can pick their own referees. That was this big thing. Storm picked Brian Hebner, which made no sense. He's the head referee. He would be expected to ref one of the falls anyway. And then Storm picks Tim Storm. I'm sorry, Aldis picks Tim Storm. I don't know what the point of that was. So he talks about, being afraid and be careful what you wish for. It's a dumb promo, and it does him no favors, at least in my opinion. Marcus, how do you feel about the Aldis promo?
Again, I like the second part better because, hell, did he have 3 on this show or 2?
2.
Okay, yeah, I like the second one better because obviously what it ended with. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of just the same thing we've been really getting longer form all these weeks. He's been, calling. He's kind of been dismissing Storm this whole time, and then bringing up the TNA thing was cool, but whatever. But it, kind of like Storm's promo, they was stretching time. And Magnus. Thankfully, the benefit that they had was they could rely on 2 quality talkers, even if they was talking about stuff that we've already heard about for weeks. With this, like you said, the picking the referee thing is like, okay, I'm guessing that's stemming back from that little skirmish that they had at that pop-up event. Although it is interesting, like, I don't know how well this is going to go over now that you've given your insurance policy the quote-unquote night off, and she supposedly dropped some information in Storm's ear. So, effery is the effery is afoot already before we even get to the match. But I did like how he ended it, revealing at the end. But again, like you said, it's just kind of long-winded repetitiveness that we've had for weeks. So, and I severely dislike that kid from Harry Potter, and I didn't even like Harry Potter to begin with.
So here's the most controversial thing, and we made jokes about the Who's being part of a Nazi culture last night, and this is going to be the most controversial thing I say all week. Harry Potter sucks. I fucking said it. Come at me. Speaking of controversial, apparently the NWA wants you to know fuck all to pro football because football for kids is dangerous.
Yeah, what the hell was that?
Right? Like, right? I thought I was going to be the only one who's like, what the fuck? So they had this flag football league on, and they're like, flag 14, football for 14 and under. It's actually under 14, so that means if you're 14, you can't play. So it was like this whole big thing where they're like, yeah, you know, hey, this is dangerous for your kids. Don't let them do this until they're 14. Then you can fuck their brains no matter what. Just let them go crazy. So like the whole thing was like super big dumb, and I don't know why they did it. I hope this was an actual commercial, like that they actually paid for. Because otherwise, the NWA needs to do a lot better policing which nonsense they put on their fucking screens. Then the main event happened. The Wildcard versus the Rock and Roll Express. And I'm going to be honest with you. If this match was a speed, we wouldn't have aged a day. Because it was so fucking slow. It's cute to see the Rock and Roll Express doing their thing still.
Say cute.
It is. Two grandpas doing the wrestle. But I'm pretty sure there was all of 3 bumps that these two old codgers took in this entire match. The term boomer did not imply their bump card. There was none. They just more laid down. The biggest bump that I remember of the match was when they threw the double dropkick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think either one took a body slam. I don't think either one took a suplex. I think Gibson is the one with the dark hair. Like his biggest spot was he got thrown in the corner and got pummeled by the little one. It's Tom Lattimore and the little one.
There was a lot of taking fists and hawking up.
Yep, a lot of drops to the knees. A lot of, hey, I'm so old, I'm going to reach for the ropes. But, you know, all that being said, I didn't mind it. You know, like when we watched the IPWF, I wasn't expecting this to be like the greatest match ever. I knew what it was going to be. I knew what it was, and I wasn't going to be surprised by it. I think one of the best things about wrestling is you can have these types of performances and still have people buy in. And I point to the match that should have main evented Bound for Glory 2011, Sting versus Hogan. That was another match where Hogan didn't take a single fucking bump, except for maybe like one. And even then, I'm not entirely sure. But that match was crazy over. The fans were super into it. And it should have been the main event, just like the Wild Cards versus Rock and Roll Express. So I'm bashing on it, but only just for funsies. I don't really think it was terrible, and I think, you know, for the fact that one dude is 58, the other dude's 62, it was relatively serviceable. It's a nice moment in time that you get to experience and enjoy, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But it was slow as shit. Marcus, I know you were excited about this match, so what did you think?
Yeah, I was just kind of looking forward to it. Like I said, I've been a fan of this whole this run that they've been on, just because it's cool to see them, you know, really regaining some momentum, and they're actually, you know, probably introducing themselves, not reintroducing, but introducing themselves to an entire generation, new generation. Like you said, it was slow as hell. It was if you walked away to go get something and came back, you didn't miss anything. Because they never, like say they never went down. But if anything, like you said, it was a feel-good moment. For 2 reasons. One, to see those guys get the titles again that they were known for. And this was kind of a last goodwill hoorah for Cornette, who we saw celebrating with him in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
So that was, I guess, his, you know, our last time seeing him go out on some form of a high note. And because I've actually seen them, the Rock and Roll Express, kind of do more in matches than they did here, I wonder if they were both teams were purposefully set this match up the way they did because they already knew they were going to do this all over again at the pay-per-view?
It's entirely possible because they did win with a roll-up, so that would kind of imply that was a fluke win. I think one of the things that we need to realize is with this specific kind of a situation, like how many times did we ever want to see, like in the late 80s, early 90s, there were 5, maybe 6 all-time great tag teams. You got the Steiners, the Road Warriors, Rock and Roll Express, the Midnight Express, and the Freebirds, just to name a few. Most of those can't reform for one reason or another. The Rock and Roll Express can. So to kind of capture that late 80s essence one last time is kind of a beautiful thing, considering how many of the other great tag teams have either fallen by the wayside because of, debilitating injuries or have lost their partner because of the Great Reaper himself. Or in Rick Steiner's case, he's more busy being a PTA parent and a home realtor than he does want to get back in the ring with Scotty. And Scotty's managing his Shoney's. So they don't want to get back together. But outside of the Steiners, it's really the Rock and Roll Express is the last active or semi-active or semi-regular tag team that exists. And I don't really see that as a problem or as a negative. I think it's really cool that they're still trying to do something. I just need people to realize that, if you're looking for the Young Bucks versus Lucha Brothers, this is not. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know if that insulted anyone. So, last segment of the night, we have a promo by the Rock and Roll Express, and it was a really interesting moment, and here's the best part: you can see Thunder Rosa in the background filming it. She's so excited, she's filming the fucking promo. I love that. And by the way, girl, those booty shorts, they working. Then we get Joe Galley, and he brings us up to date on the Into the Fire card. If you order before the 17th or 7th, you can get it for $19.99 instead of $29.99. So you got the Wildcard versus Rock and Roll Express. You got the Triple Threat. That was for the tag titles, by the way. You got the National Championship, Colt Cabana defending against Ricky Starks and Aaron Stevens for the belts. Trevor Murdoch is taking on the question mark, and apparently answers will be given on the event. We'll see. You have Ashley Fox and Allison Kay versus Molina and or Thunder Rosa or Marty Bell. Ken Anderson versus Eli Drake, and Nick Aldis versus James Storm in a 2 out of 3 falls match. Marcus, do you want to do a quick predictions?
Let's do it.
All right, Into the Fire tag team title match, Wildcard versus Rock and Roll Express. Who'd you got?
You know what? I want to go with R&R retaining.
I, too, am going with the AARP tag team. National title triple threat, Stark, Stevens, Cabana.
I'm going to just go out here and just say a surprise win by one Starks.
I, too, am going with the great son of New Orleans, Ricky Starks. The question mark versus Trevor Murdoch.
You better go with Murdoch. I can't find one F to give about this question, and everything I've seen that I'm not going to care once we see him. So, continue that momentum with Murdoch, man. He's somebody that I would like to see move up the card.
I would like to see it too, but I think it's going to be the question mark. Vox, I just love saying her name. Vox. Vox and K versus Malina, Thunder Rosa, and or Marty Bell. Who'd you got?
I want to go. I'm gonna go ahead and get it, because we've seen them take several L's. Now I'm gonna go with. I guess maybe they're gonna go with the Molina Rosa combo, and we're gonna finally see Sienna kind of squeak out with a win to piss her off.
I'm going with the Molina Rosa combo as well, and I'm gonna go with Rosa drop kicking Allison Kay through a corner. with that pumped shotgun dropkick she does. Then we got Drakey and Eli. No, that's the same person. I just realized that. It's Drakey Eli versus Anderson Ken. This is an interesting one because, both guys are, Anderson's 42, Eli's, I think, 36. So they're both around the same age. They're both around the same experience, same type of gimmick. I would hope it's Eli because obviously I would like to see him carry the NWA World Championship. But, this could go either way, but I'm going to go with Eli.
Yeah, going with Eli too, man. I think this is probably one of the more matches I'm excited about. Actually, this and maybe the main event I have the most or the highest of expectations for in terms of what they've allowed us to have for this show.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going with Drake as well. Like, it's just, again, I think it's going to be a solid match, but, the momentum's with Drake right now. So
It is. Then in the main event, James Storm, Nick Aldis, 2 out of 3 falls. I have Aldis winning in 2 consecutive falls. Because Tim Storm fucks James Storm.
Tim Storm F's James Storm, but does Camille literally F James? I don't know.
Who knows who Camille F's besides Tom Latimer? Sorry.
Yeah. Thumamir, yeah.
Thumamir.
But yeah, I mean, the shenanigans are coming. I don't know if Camille's gonna take the night off. I don't know what Magnus had to Magnus, Jesus, what Storm was told that could be a secret to beating him. Who knows? But trickery will be afoot. But I'm going with Magnus to retain because despite all the odds he's faced up until this point, he's overcome them. So I see no reason to deviate from that system now. And it's just going to continue in telling the story of Storm being somehow kept off the title or away from the title, being screwed by Magnus in several instances. So, yeah, I'm going with all this.
It's the right pick. Then at the end of the show, we get Nick Aldis once again showcasing his BFF in an upside-down tablet shot, revealing who the new color commentator for NWA Powerrr is, and it's going to be one Stu Bennett, a.k.a. Wade Barrett. And we've got some bad news for ya. Honestly, as far as an announcement goes, this is, I would say this is actually, in my opinion, I don't know how you feel about this, a larger name to get than even Jim Cornette.
Oh man, I'm right there. Oh man, I'm right there with you. Because I didn't see it coming, but when I saw it, I was like, you know what? That's a damn fine pick. The reason why I was so heavy on Cornette in that spot is because of his history with the organization, and of course, the good and unfortunate part was his mentality that's lasted all these years kind of fits right with the brand. And unfortunately, the brand has returned within a time in society that is not conducive to Cornette's stationary mindset, which of course proved to backfire on him. But I think Barrett, man, Stu Bennett is a perfect pick. He's poised. He's very much like Magnus in a lot of ways, that he looks the part, acts the part. Very much knows what to say, how to say this and the third. And he's been doing a lot of work post his WWE career, building, bridges for himself all across the industry in different ways. So I think this is a real quality pick, and I'm looking forward to not only seeing him again, because he's done stuff, like I said, commentated across the industry. I think he did some stuff in Ring of Honor too. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So I think this was, like you said, it's actually a step up. Somebody call it a lateral, but I think it's a step up too. Because I think he can, like Aldis, he kind of got that old school mindset. So.
In terms of talent, I think it's a sidestep. I don't see one being better than the other. But in terms of modern name value, Stu Bennett's kind of still seen as a guy who, I think he's 38, 39, who could come back and actually wrestle, and people would tune in to see. I don't think he wants to anymore. He definitely wants to act, and that's something he's been doing. But should he decide to get back in the ring, what better place than the NWA? Because they're already bringing back all the 40-year-old WWE wrestlers, so he'd fit right in. So there's a lot of room there, I think.
Yeah, and then one week, somebody try to check him, because this is also another thing they could do very much easily. Now this is somebody they could have physical confrontation with, because nobody was going to try to physically check Jim Cornette. It's no point. But now, somebody goes to pick at Stu, he could drop him with that bullhammer real quick and get back to it.
Could be an opportunity to see more Stu Bennett. So, with that being...
he's a legit bare-knuckle fighter, right?
He used to be way back in the day, allegedly. Yeah. You can never trust pro wrestlers when they're like, I used to bare-knuckle fight, or I used to MMA. I used to MMA? How high am I?
But then it's like, what's your proof you used to do it? Like, look at my nose.
well, that is one. I was just about to say, well, that is one fucked up nose. So, into the fires next week. We'll see how it goes. It's on the 14th, right?
Yeah.
The NWA is fucking dumb. Because the UFC is running UFC 245. And they're going to have Colby Covington versus Kamaru Usman. They have Max Holloway, who is easily MMA's favorite champion, defending his belt. And then you have a title match with Amanda Nunes. And Uriah Faber is in another bout on that show. So it's the most stacked fighting card of the year. And the NWA has to vie for that. Oh, that's as the kids say because of our show, that's the big dumb. You picked the wrong time to do the show there, Billy. But we'll see what happens going forward. So, anything else pique your interest since Sunday? Besides the Whoville Nation being a place to worry about if you're a green person?
I just love that it's just the beginning of December. I know this is going to be an ongoing narrative until the new year.
Yup.
Love it. No, nothing really.
The Holocaust was real, Marcus. Don't be a Holocaust denier.
See, we got to keep these discussions to the show, because if we get them on Twitter, and somebody misinterprets what we're trying to say, because all they're gonna see is cost, and not what comes before it. Then we're gonna get reported.
Marcus, if they try to report us, they're part of the Hula Illuminati, and I do not represent or respect the Hula Illuminati. That's a hard one to say. Huluminati. So if they report you, they're part of the Huluminati. They work for Rudolf Hitler. You don't listen to them. You don't respect them. You say, and you block them.
It's like then in protest we come out with shirts. The Hula community.
The Hula community. The Hoo-Hey community. Well, actually, we figured this out. The gay marriage is not allowed in Whoville. Like, we figured this out. We deduced it last night. Yes. We figured it out. Because we found out that, the Grinch in that movie was adopted by two quote-unquote sisters who looked nothing alike. I'm just saying. Whoville's very outdated. It is, right? Now you're starting to get sucked into the conspiracy theories.
Also, I did not see any chocolate whoos.
Right? All those woos. All those whoos were a little too pale for a diverse collection of people. There was no who freaking Americans.
Oh my god.
Or would be who freakins Whovillians. Because they would be Whoville, so they'd be Whovillians. And then, of course, they'd be Whofrikins. I feel like this is a bit from Winnie the Pooh with the Heffalumps and Woozles.
Oh my god. Yeah, they could come out with a show. So yeah, somebody come out with a show called Whoville. Somebody who.
Marcus is quickly seeing his future in this industry dry up because of this joke. I do not represent this conversation. I do not endorse this conversation. My name is Marcus P. Green, and I want nothing to do with this.
That is not my who purse. I don't know.
That's my who purse. I don't know you. Bobby Hool and his father, Hank Hool.
Oh my god. Who know her?
Bill Who Do Who. And then of course you have Whomhauer. Hey man, I'm gonna tell you what about the man, the hills, man, the who's man, during that time when I got down to Grinches and who's and the whatnots. Yeah. Dale Huber.
Yeah, would it be Shane Wahunahan or what?
Yes, it would be Shane Wahunahan. Yes. Shane Wahunahan. How are you? Yeah. What was Khan's first name? Or was Khan his first name?